truly appreciate your time to the genuine ones only. I hope your day is coming along well so far. Hope your week is coming along well so far. Have a safe day. Have a safe remaining week. Protect your energy because not everybody's having your time. Wow. It's been a long week of a week. And the week ain't even start yet, huh? You know, sometimes when you start your day off and you feel like, you know what, the week ain't even start yet and you feel like you already overdrained yourself and you overwhelmed because you don't understand yourself and you're just trying to find balance within yourself because everything just feels so overwhelming within you and you're just trying to show up for yourself in a healthy way, but you feel like you at one place at one time and you're at multiple places at one time and you're only one person and you're just trying to find balance within. You ever been in a situation where you had to reevaluate your thought process of yourself is? Look how far I came. Look how far I overcame the pain and the trauma. But then when you reevaluate your thought process, say to yourself is, I'm just still trying to find balance within. It's like, you know, when you open one door, it's like you don't know which way to turn now when you're trying to escape yourself. You ever felt like that? When you're trying to show for yourself and you're trying to escape your own self because you become your own worst enemy? You know, the energy hit different when you're trying to escape yourself. You know, sometimes finding balance within yourself it's hard. It feels hard because sometimes you become your own worst enemy when dealing with depression and dealing with anxiety, PTSD, and you put a name to your book. You just need that person you can count on and reach out to, but when you don't have those family members that you're actually able to reach out to and communicate with and let them know how your day's going because they don't mean well to you. You know, they don't want to see you become your best self version of yourself. They want you to see that you are depressed and you are in toxic situations within toxic situations because they're in toxic situations. And it's the norm, but it's not the norm. The enemy allows you to believe it was the norm. You know, when you're trying to elevate and become your best self vision of yourself and you're trying to branch out and become your best self vision of yourself, when the enemy knocks on your door when you least expect it. You know, coming out your comfort zone is not easy. It's not. And I say that respectfully. It's not easy. Especially when you don't have the right support team behind you that you feel is supposed to be your support team. That you're seeking support from all the wrong peoples when your hand is out. Because those people are not for you. And I say that respectfully. You know how when you keep calling that family member and they just trying to figure out why you keep calling me for? And you're reevaluating your life and saying to yourself is, dang, you only know me when it's convenient for you. You only know me when you need something. But it's when your turn, you reevaluate your whole entire life and say to yourself is, you know what? I'd rather not bother anymore. I'd rather just figure it out. Then as you try to figure it out, you start to feel lost within yourself. And you're reaching out to all the wrong people who don't mean well to you. And all it's doing is draining your energy. When you're just trying to find balance within yourself to show for yourself. It's like when one door closes, another one opens, and you're just trying to figure out, okay, well, which way do I turn when I'm finding myself? And all I'm doing is going in circles because there's only one door. And I keep entering the same one door. But I'm looking for the right guidance. How do I find the right guidance if I keep opening the same door? Or what they said it was the norm. And it was never the norm. It just stopped my growth. It just stopped me from elevating and becoming my best self version of myself. I'm seeking answers from people who don't even know themselves. I'm seeking information from people who's directing me the wrong direction. I'm seeking answers from people who don't mean well to me. I'm seeking answers from people who's trying to suck out my freedom, let alone my pockets, to manipulate my character for something I'm truly not. When you're just trying to find yourself, you're just trying to pick yourself up. You know this page is not for everybody, and it's okay. About to truly preach time to the genuine ones only. You know, someone that's truly for you, and I say this respectfully, someone that's truly for you it's not going to walk away from you. And what's truly for you will truly be for you with no hesitation. And especially if God is showing you this is truly for you. You know, God is not going to put you in a situation where it becomes uncomfortable within being uncomfortable of yourself. Because God will show you balance within yourself to become your best self vision of yourself. You may not understand it at the moment, but when God makes you a believer within yourself and shows you you're uncomfortable right now, it's only temporary to be uncomfortable. But when God opens certain doors and closes certain doors in your life for all the right reasons, God will guide you to certain doors in your life to elevate and become your best self vision of yourself. And when God does that, they're not going to understand, wow, wait. Hey, what's going on? How you doing? But now they know you. But they didn't know you when you was homeless. They didn't know you when you needed food in your belly. They didn't know you when they manipulated your character. Or they didn't know you when it was cool to talk about you the toxic way. To have third-party conversations about you and that wasn't truly you. Or painted a picture as a description of the delusional mind as to, I'm going to psych them out their thought process today when they wanted to manipulate your character. And all you was trying to do was just find yourself. You know, sometimes when you're trying to find yourself, you come between the lines and truly trying to find yourself and identifying who you truly are. Sometimes you're blinded by your own self, of your own reflection, because you start to entertain people who are not truly for you. And I say that respectfully. There should be no reason why family should go against each other. But the enemy allowed to be was the norm. Or your neighbor, period. And I say that respectfully. You know, stopping your growth, that was never part of God's plan. Because you have a destination to go to. You do. Because when you get in tune with yourself to actually know who you truly are, you have a destination to go to. And because the enemy steps in, the enemy distracts you within distracting you. And allow people to show up in your life that will play a role in your life for the temporary moment. Or however long the enemy decides to blindside you and distract you from becoming your best self vision of yourself, from showing up for yourself. Will allow you to believe that you're not worthy of yourself and for you to give up on yourself and to live in fear and be discouraged. When that was never part of God's plan. You know, it's sad and it's really sad that women in society today and men, not all, don't know what love is. People are so used to toxic love, dysfunctional love, being disrespected, not knowing what the norm of the norm is that God created us to be, at peace with ourselves and actually love and honor ourselves, to respect and honor our neighbor. because of the upbringing of a household, of the dysfunctionalness of a household, when it was fake love. Going against each other. Showing the children in the household that it was okay to go against each other. Having hand problems. Showing of a dysfunctional family looks like. Because the enemy stepped into that household and said it was the norm. And then when you become your own worst enemy, it don't make it no better. When you're trying to find balance within yourself to show up for yourself, you start to be depressed. You start to deal with anxiety, PTSD, and you're just trying to find balance within yourself. How could you find balance within yourself when you don't know what balance looks like? You don't know what boundaries look like. If you don't know what boundaries look like, how could you show up for yourself? When your mindset from a child point of view, going into your adulthood, showed you at the end of the day, this is what the norm was. This is the people that I had around me. This is what the people that were around me. So I thought it was the norm. This is why I behave the way I behave. Even people, when they start to have kids, they still believe it's the norm of the monster to continue with the behavior. And they're not only realizing that they're only making themselves sick, making themselves even more sick as days progress, and don't even realize it. Because it became the norm. It did. It became the norm. It should be no reason why a child should have to defend themselves against their guardian. Not go back and forth with words. That child don't gotta put their hands on a guardian. But for that guardian to put their hands on that child like they're a stranger in the street, blood being drawn from that child's mouth, face, body, traumatizing that child. And then you sit there and say that was supposed that's what that child gets. Because you don't know how to communicate with your child. Not only that you don't know how to communicate with your child, but to be jealous of your child, the energy hit different. Being jealous of your own child, being envious of your own child. Then you sit there and manipulate your own child. I never understood that. Why parents sit there and manipulate their own children. And then when their children said that they're being manipulated, and then when that child goes out into the real world and starts to manipulate other people, and they start to become a liar, first thing you trying to figure out is that they didn't get that from me. That's a lie. They only saw what you did, and they repeated it. Or the company that you keep, they see how you move. They see the conversations amongst conversations of what you say to people, how you psych people out their thought process, an innocent person. So this is the habits that they pick up because they feel like it was the norm, because this is what you're showing them. Or you show them that it was not the norm to confide in them because they were scared of you. So now they go into the street and seek love from people outside. That don't mean well sometimes. And then you're wondering what happened. How did this happen? Like, how did this happen? You know, it's not about being your child's best friend. But for your child to trust you, her respect is a two-way street. And if the love is not being shown and the respect is not there, how do you expect your child to respect you? That's what they say. Why? How? How is that possible? Maybe the enemy stepped in and said it was the norm to go into households and show up and allow it to be the norm of the norm to have dysfunctional families, to have families divided, to have families psych themselves out their own freedom, to go against each other when God didn't create us like that. To allow to believe that it was okay to cheat on people, to allow to be the norm, to be so dysfunctional within dysfunctional of having a hand problem and allowing domestic violence to be the norm. That was never the norm. Never. That was never the norm. So when that child grows up and becomes an adult, right? Not all, but some. They had upbringing that family members may have been on drugs and not a prison and not a jail. You put a name to your book, rehab. You know how it feels for a child to feel like nobody loves them? You know how long of a trauma a mindset that child has, and once they become an adult, to feel the lack of love and the lack of respect. How can they know what respect looks like at the end of the day if all they knew was disrespect, was the norm? And it was never the norm to them. But they're just trying to find themselves. And because they're trying to find themselves in this cold, cold world that we live in, they don't know how to communicate with themselves in a healthy way. Because all they doing is just beating themselves up and being discouraged and living in fear and giving up on themselves, when God never created us to be that way. You know, God created these tools within us: self-awareness, self-respect, self-healing, self-control, self-peace, self-discipline, self-confidence, self-care, self-value, self-love, self-worth, self-patience, and boundaries to elevate, to become your best self version of yourself, to have balance, healthy boundaries. But how could you possibly know that you need to use these tools every single day of your life? Because you do. To elevate and become your best self version of yourself, even days when you can't understand yourself. Days when you can't understand yourself, you need to stay in your own lane and not interrupt the mindset of an innocent person when they're just in their own lane. Because what happens is, what people experience at a child point of view when it went into their adulthood, they would think is the norm of the norm, right? To fight each other. That violence was okay. And when the enemy steps in, the enemy said that bullying was always part of the plan. And that was not part of God's plan. Because, you know, when it starts from bullying, it goes from bullying to being envious to having malicious intentions. That's what happens. That's how people that's how people psych other people out of their freedom, their thought process, their pockets, their eyesight. Because they ain't got good intentions. But for a person that wants to heal from all the pain and the suffering that was installed with them, that they may not have had guardians to show them the right guidance, or they may have had guardians that didn't know how to show them the right guidance because they were so trapped in their own little world. And the information that they were feeding them was all wrong the whole entire time. Because what happens is, how could you possibly tell somebody, right, what they need to do to become their best self version of themselves, and you ain't got your stuff together? That's like somebody telling somebody to get a job, right? But they don't got a job. Like, how you telling me to get a job, but you don't got a job? You know? Stuff like that. So that's what it becomes a problem within a problem, because if it's like, how can I respect you if you don't respect yourself? Just a breakdown. If you understand where I'm coming from. You know, just because trauma was endured within you from a child point of view, maybe being sexually assaulted, it went into your adulthood and you didn't get the right help, dealing with dysfunctional family members, trauma on top of trauma, domestic violence, unhealthy relationships, being sick, whatever sicknesses you put to your book, and you're just trying to elevate. But how could you elevate when the norm of the norm became your norm? And you're just trying to find balance within yourself. To know that God created you to become your best self version of yourself. And you want better within yourself. You do. But you don't know how to show up for yourself. And because you don't know how to show up for yourself, you start to act out in ways that are toxic. And toxic ways can lead you to jail. Toxic ways can lead you to somewhere you don't want to be. Getting into confrontation with people, and you are the aggressive, and the innocent person was just minding their business, and you just looking for a reaction out of somebody. Or you had a substance abuse problem because you didn't know how to control yourself, and you just needed something to take away the pain. We was never given a handbook as to how do we deal with pain when someone caused it on you. But when it starts with you first and coming out your comfort zone, to understand at the end of the day that it was never the norm of the norm to give up on yourself, to beat yourself up with words and become your worst enemy. Regardless to who overlooked you, gave up on you, or didn't see your value, or who didn't take the time out to get to know you for who you truly are. Not was, are. Because they overlooked you, it wasn't meant for them to be in your life. It wasn't meant for them to get in tune to who you are. Because maybe had they had been in your life, maybe things would have went differently. Maybe you would have been able to communicate how you can express yourself. But then when you hold everything in, you're only hurting yourself. Sometimes some people beat themselves up because of this person's not in their life, that person's not in their life. When those people push them away. From a child point of view going into their adulthood. People didn't understand why is that person out of my life. Like, what did I do wrong? Was it me? Why did you overlook me? You know, sometimes in life it's not you. It's not. And you can't beat yourself up because someone didn't want to respect you. You know, dealing with trauma and dealing with understanding the fact that when it starts with healing, it starts with you. And it's not going to be easy. It's not. It's not. Especially when you understand that what you've been through wasn't easy. And you feel like nobody understands you when it comes to communication. And you could be around a whole bunch of people at one time. You could be in a room for the a party group of people, and you could just feel so alone. When you're supposed to be having a good time, and you're just trying to cope with yourself and find balance, but you can't. And you're just trying to show up for yourself, and it just keeps getting worse and worse as days progress. You know, dealing with depression is not easy. And then you keep attracting all these, you know, people that are truly not for you, and you're just trying to find balance within yourself to show up for yourself. And you don't understand why is it that you keep going through the same door all over again. And it's like you keep repeating itself. Like it keeps repeating all the toxic behavior of the negative things that you don't want to deal with. And you just want to become your best self version of yourself. And you feel like you're holding your own self back. And then you sit there, hurt yourself with your own words. You know, when you're dealing with God, God will send all the right people into your life at the right time, when you least expect it. God will send all the right people to into your life to genuinely love you at the right time when you least expect it. But you gotta tune into yourself to actually be aware of what's going on. If you're not aware of your surroundings, you're not aware of yourself. You know, it's sad to see that sometimes your own folks will go against you. They'll put you out in the street, disrespect you, tell you that you're not worthy of yourself. Those words hurt. You know, people that's supposed to protect you and respect you, and all they did was go against you. But that was only the enemy work. The enemy created that. And because the enemy created that, the enemy feel like they won. But the enemy didn't win anything. Because you still have yourself. And you still have self-reflecting to do. And you still have a chance at life. Regardless of what door was closed in front of your face, it was for all the right reasons. Because those folks wasn't for you. They were against you. And when you start to elevate, become your best self, visiting yourself, you better not look back. Don't look back. Don't look back. Because you saw what it did to you when it was stopping your growth. It saw what it did to you when it was making you sick, when dealing with depression, dealing with anxiety, PTSD. God did not create us to be like that. And sometimes, and I say this respectfully, love is not supposed to hurt. No, it's not. Someone allowing you to feel unworthy of yourself, or allowing you to feel like you cannot show up for yourself, that's not love. That's not. Someone manipulating your character for something that you're truly not, that's not love. I think everybody's not gonna agree with what I'm saying. But regardless of who it is, family or not, When God closes certain doors in your life, it's being closed for a reason. When God steps in and says, nah, enough is enough, it's for all the right reasons. Because now God wants to protect you. And God saw what was going on, especially when you're a child of God. And I say that respectfully. Because God don't dance with the enemy. And I say that respectfully. So when you're a child of God, when you know, you know. Punching on you like you a punching bag. Abusing you like you a punching bag. So you won't be able to show for yourself? Wow. Why? Because they're not elevating their life? Why? They don't want to see you do better than them? When we all supposed to be elevating together to become our best self visions of ourselves? Not everybody's a child of God. No, they're not. And not everybody's a chosen one. No, they're not. But when you know, you know. And you ain't gotta fake gaslight nobody, because God has been working miracles in your life. And I say that respectfully. But to understand yourself, to understand how you become your best self vision of yourself, to be patient with yourself. Because God was patient with you for you to see another day. Because you are the miracle within yourself, regardless to what trauma was endured within you from a young age, going into your adulthood, and you didn't know how to love because of the dysfunctional behavior that was going on around you, and you thought it was the norm. And just to reevaluate yourself and say, you know what, wow, this ain't love. This is not what it is. No, it's not. I want better for myself. I want to come out of this depression. I want to come out of this anxiety. I don't want the enemy to live in my life anymore. I can't allow the enemy to stop me from becoming my best self vision of myself. I'm allowing the enemy to step into my life and not able to show up for my children. I can't allow the enemy to continue to stop me from becoming my best self vision of myself. Because I love myself. I want to continue to love myself. I want to grow to love who I am. I want to look at the reflection of myself in the mirror and be tuned into who I truly am. So I can understand and have patience with myself. To understand that regardless to what I've been through, I can overcome it. I can override it with faith, walking by faith, not by sight, because God got my back to better days ahead. Because God is still patient with you. They're not going to understand how you want to elevate. They're not going to understand that you want to become your best self version of yourself. It's not meant for them to understand. As long as you're doing the inner work to understand when it comes to healing from trauma and pain, that it starts with you. And you got to mean what you say and say what you mean to be true to yourself. You can't have one foot in one door, one foot in the other door, and wearing a mask and fake gaslighting yourself. You cannot do it. It ain't going to make sense. Because all you're going to continue to do is stop yourself. All you're going to continue to do is continue to beat yourself up. Continue making yourself sick within. Continue going in circles, going through the same door over and over again, trying to pick yourself up, trying to find balance within yourself. And all you keep doing is hurting your own self. You know that toxic relationship you saw your folks go through, or you saw your neighbor go through, or whatever case may be. You thought it was the norm to be in an unhealthy relationship. You thought it was the norm to put your hands on people. You thought it was the norm because it's what you saw. You thought it was the norm. It was never the norm. And because you knew something was off about it, you knew something wasn't right about it, when you started saying to yourself is, you know what? I just need to find balance. It exists. And I need to find balance within myself. And I want to mean what I say, and I want to say what I mean to show for myself, to have genuine self-awareness, to understand my healing process, to understand that it's me. I choose me. And I want to choose the best part of me to show up. I want to grow and elevate. I may just had came out of an abusive relationship. I may just had folks that overlooked me. I didn't have guardians in my life. I didn't have that support that my neighbor may have. But I want to choose me when everybody else overlooked me. When choosing your best self vision of yourself became your priority. It became your priority. How can you show up for your children if you can't show up for yourself? How can you be fully there for yourself and your children if you're not mentally well with yourself? And you're half-stepping. And you want to give yourself all of you. And you want to give your children all of you. To show them that, you know what? I got your back and I mean what I say. You got to be healthy within. Mentally, physically, spiritually. To be in tune with yourself. To know who you are. But it starts with you. Regardless of that relationship didn't work out. You didn't have guardians to show you the proper guidance. You didn't have guardians at all. You had people who overlooked you that were guardians. You didn't have guardians that didn't take the time to get to know you. You didn't have guardians in your life that, that didn't want to respect you for who you truly was and to understand you. Like, you didn't have that. You didn't have that genuine support. Or what you thought was support, they just wanted to be in your business. They didn't mean well. They just played you close to get to see what you had going on in your life and just to talk about you. You didn't have that support. Or do you have people come into your life to use and abuse you? And you was just trying to pick yourself up to find balance within yourself. To understand yourself. It starts with you. It starts with you. When it comes to healing, trauma healing, it's not easy. It really isn't easy. But because God chooses you to see another day, God is willing to show you that you can heal within, mentally, physically, and show up for yourself spiritually. And understanding, being in tune with yourself, that it was part of God's plan this whole entire time for you to know who you truly are. And because you don't know who you truly are, you hurt yourself with words. You discourage yourself when you least expect it because you see your neighbor elevating. You see your neighbor overriding certain things in their life and you don't even know half of it. Your neighbor could be going through something so worse than what you're going through today, and they just put on a good show for you. And you reevaluate your whole life and say, well, I thought I had it worse. Never judge a book by its cover, neighbor. Being abused, domestic violence, toxic family, strangers that didn't know no better, with no common sense, disrespected you to stop you from elevating, becoming your best self vision of yourself. If you could sit here and entertain a man or a woman to get into a relationship with, and you have not done the right healing for yourself, you don't need to be in a relationship. You don't. Because you need to get in tune to who you are. And because you saw those epically failed relationships for all the right reasons, because they weren't for you, they were for all the right reasons. Sorry you went through what you had to go through, and I say that respectfully. But you haven't done the inner healing within to know your self-value and know your self-worth. Because you do matter. And you are worthy. And you deserve to be treated with respect. Especially when you don't have malicious intentions to bring harm towards yourself and others around you. You know, sometimes when it starts with healing, you have to really regroup and reevaluate your thought process and say to yourself is, when you look at your reflection of your mirror, you really got to find out who you are. You do. Because you think you know who you are, and you really don't know who you are. And I say that respectfully. Because you're so powerful, you're so strong than what you actually are, and you don't even see how strong and powerful you are. Because the enemy was in your life for so long. And then sometimes when you become your own worst enemy, you can't even recognize your reflection of yourself. You can't. To know that, wow, you mean to tell me I've been so strong this whole entire time, I've been this powerful this whole entire time, and I allowed the enemy to sidetrack me, distract me from me becoming my best self vision of myself. Yeah. When God closes certain doors in your life, regardless to who it is, situations, maybe that job opportunity wasn't for you. God had something better for you. That relationship, it wasn't for you. God got something better for you. But when you sit down and regroup with yourself, when you start your healing process, you will understand the definition of self-love in yourself. Something that you never knew how to do was love yourself. In order for you to know what love actually looks like at the end of the day, you gotta love yourself. So when someone comes into your life, you know what authentic love looks like when it's genuine. Instead of someone sitting there fake gaslighting you, acting like they so in tune with you when they ain't got no good intentions when it come to you. You could prevent that. You could prevent it. Because when someone comes into your life to mean what they say what they mean, they ain't gotta fake gaslight you. Because they mean what they say, and they mean what they say, and they true to themselves to be true to you. And I say that respectfully. You know, certain things play out for a reason. It do. And it's unfortunate that it has to happen like that. But when it's on the enemy time, that's how it plays out. And not in your order. When it's supposed to be in your order. The healthy way, not the toxic way. Because God did not create us to have violence and to be in unhealthy relationships to hurt each other. Domestic violence, guys, so what is that? What is domestic violence? Oh, domestic violence. People harming each other. And God created love. Oh, no, 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 no. God is pissed. Because God creation was you. God creation was you. God creation was you. And because God creation was you, God created you out of love. God created you out of respect, with peace, joy, happiness. So you can show for yourself. And understand that when God brought you into this world, that God wanted you to walk by faith, not by sight. So when you understand that you're walking with God, guidance, God will guide you to better days ahead. That's why the enemy didn't want you to show for yourself. And then you become your own enemy because you're trying to figure out why you in this world. Why me? Why me? Why me? You start to question yourself. Every time you turn around, something bad always happening. Every time you turn around, it's always you. You. They point a finger at you. Every time you turn around, it's if it ain't one thing, it's another thing. You know, if only you knew God created us to be at peace with ourselves. And I say that respectfully. God created us to be at peace with ourselves. If I tell you this, you know, God created us to not have worries. Would you believe me? Because when you're a child of God, when you know, you know. Because when you tune into God, that energy hit differently. And I say that respect, I'm talking about the good God. The good God that protects and don't allow, you know, you to feel unworthy of yourself or you to feel like you're alone. The good God that's going to show you better days ahead. The good God that says, I love you when you least expect it, like God will show you. Because you know why? You are the miracle within yourself and God is still patient with you. But that's the part where you got to be patient with yourself to understand that God is still working in your favor when you least expect it. And not everybody's a child of God. No, they not. Not everybody's a child of God. Nope. Because God got a lot of enemies. Yeah, God got a lot of enemies. So being that God got a lot of enemies, not everybody's a child of God. When you know, you know. But God created us to respect ourselves and to honor ourselves. And if you don't honor and respect yourself, who's going to honor and respect you? I say that respectfully. Because you do matter. You are worthy. And God doesn't want you to hurt yourself with your own words or allow you to believe that you need to live in fear or be discouraged and give up on yourself and allow the enemy to keep trying to knock in and try to get in your door. No, 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 no. Because God said there are better days ahead. And because God's going to continue to choose you, and as long as God allows you to continue to show you that I'm going to continue to choose you, you gotta be patient with your process. And go within to do the inner healing, to know who you are, to love yourself, to respect yourself, and to, you know, say to yourself, you know what? Wow. That was it. I did the inner work within to show for myself today. It's different. You know, when you felt like you were suffocating yourself, when you was just looking for peace within yourself. You know how that energy feel when you feel like you're suffocating to be at peace with yourself? It's very uncomfortable. All those sleepless nights and anxiety, PTSD, you cannot go to sleep because you're beating yourself up because the enemy's trying to knock on your door. But when you start to do the right healing within yourself, you start to be able to sleep properly at night. You start to understand yourself a lot more better. You start to become more in tune with yourself. And you start to realize who is truly for you. And I say that respectfully because not everybody's deserving of your time. People will try to drain your energy. People try to do spell work on you. Just because they don't want to see you elevate. Just because they don't want to see you become your best self vision of yourself. Faster than them. Because they're hate in disguise. And you'd be so surprised to be your own folks sometimes. Or the people that you allow into your inner circle, your sanctuary, where this is your peace, where it's supposed to be your peace. They come in and disrupt it. And because you allowed it to show up as the norm, you don't understand, like, you know what, enough is enough. Nah. Stay in your lane. Excuse me, ma'am, sir. Have a nice day somewhere else. Respectfully, have a nice day somewhere else. Because that energy don't live here today. When you start to get in tune with yourself. Because you allowed it to be in your life for so long. And you saw the behavior as you was being brought up, or you saw the behavior around you. You said, no, 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 no. No, 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 no. That don't live here today. I want to become my best self vision of myself. I want to elevate. You know, you walk by faith, not by sight. So when you understood the assignment that God closed that door for all the right reasons. And as you realize you're walking by faith, not by sight, and God is guiding you, and God is opening certain doors in your life, and you say to yourself as well, Whew. Thank you, God, for being good to me. Thank you, God, for being patient with my process. Thank you, God, for allowing me to see another day. Then you start to really get in tune with yourself. Not only are you just showing up for yourself in a good, healthy way, now you're able to show up for everybody else in a healthy way. And the energy that you dish out now, it's so different. It's healthier. You could be there more for your kids instead of being depressed and anxiety, PTSD, and having to be on this prescription, that prescription, or whatever the case may be, because it stops your growth from you becoming your best self vision of yourself. Now you're able to be more aware of yourself. Now you're able to be more in tune to what's going on. Now you're able to go to that basketball game, that football game, the arcade, or you're able just to get out of your comfort zone and do things for yourself that you was stopping your growth. Like maybe starting a business, starting to learn how to cook, so you ain't gotta rely on somebody else. Go learn how to pay a bill because somebody never taught you how to do that. All the things that you did not know how to do, you starting to do it. Learning yourself. You were so in depressed mode and dealing with anxiety and PTSD, you didn't know how to go pay a bill. That's how bad it was. You didn't know how to go pay a bill. Ain't nothing to laugh at. Because of when it's in certain households, at the end of the day, not all, some people are not taught to how to pay a bill. They taught to go to the check cashing places and go to certain places and environments with other people, but nobody ever showed them how to fill these paperworks out. Or what to read or the blueprint of whatever of the documentation is supposed to say. Because some people didn't have the guidance. Just because someone don't know how to pay a bill, don't laugh at them. Just because someone doesn't know how to do certain things because they're an adult, they weren't taught certain things as a child or growing up. They weren't taught certain things. Even if they had guardians around them or if they didn't. If they had guardians around them, if they did or they didn't. Some people just didn't show them how to do certain things. Either some of them was haters, you had folks around them that was haters, or some people just didn't know how to. So because you don't know how to do something doesn't make you delay or slow or stupid. It don't. Because you learn something new every single day. And not only do you learn something new every single day, but you learn yourself. You start to learn yourself even more. You know, even when people don't have to point out certain things about you, about your character traits or whatever the case, they don't have to point it out. You just start to get in tune with yourself in a healthy way because you understand that with change comes growth, or growth comes true self-understanding of self-awareness. That when it regards to what trauma you endured as a child going into adulthood at the end of the day, when you understand the assignment of when it comes to trauma healing, it's not going to be easy. So because you know it's not easy at the end of the day, you're still learning yourself. You're still learning yourself. But because you're learning yourself, you don't have to have malicious intentions to bring harm towards an innocent person. Because you're still learning yourself. And you can stay in your lane with your negative energy instead of interrupting an innocent person. Because you don't understand how they elevate, or you're just having a misunderstanding self-day with yourself, or you don't have to like your neighbor at the end of the day. Just stay in your own lanes. It's called respect. And that's something that God installed within us for us to respect ourselves and to respect our neighbors. You know, they say it takes a village to raise a child. It also takes a village in a community to respect and be at peace with each other. To understand that I can respect my neighbor. My neighbor don't have to like me at the end of the day, but I can stay in my lane. I understand that I'm elevating, become my best self, visiting myself, or I'm having a misunderstanding self-day with myself today, but I can stay in my own lane. I don't have to go back and forth with words with my neighbor because my neighbor doesn't understand that I'm trying to become my best self, vision of myself. Or maybe God is working in my favor at the end of the day. They don't understand how God is working in your favor. And that you are elevating, and you mean what you're saying, you staying true to yourself, that you ain't gotta fake gaslight nobody to wear a mask, that you're truly at peace with yourself, and that God is truly working in your favor. When you look at the reflection of yourself, you're truly tuned into yourself. Hey neighbor, you sit in a chat, question a child of God, because God's working in their favor. You only playing your own face questioning God. And I say that respectfully. Especially when a child of God don't got to fake gaslight nobody. Not only are they meaning what they saying, but they actually, you could tell. It's different when you can just see it. Because it goes within, and you see it on the outside. It's so beautiful. It's just a gift from God. That energy hit different. That energy hit different. Because you could tell the difference when the enemy's working in someone's favor, somebody's life, and trying to distract them within a distraction. And I say that respectfully. So be careful when you judge a book by its cover, neighbor. And just because you don't understand somebody today, just stay in your lane. That's it. Just stay in your own lane. You know, we learn something new every single day to become our best self-visions of ourselves. You're not better than nobody. You're not less than nobody at the end of the day. With change come growth, with growth come true understanding of self-awareness. Because you're choosing your best self-vision of yourself to show up. And you want to mean what you say, and you say what you mean, that you want to love yourself in the most healthiest way that you never knew how to. And because you're doing that, you start to attract what's truly for you. You do. With God's protection for every direction. When God will guide you to better days ahead, God will show you that, you know what? Being at peace with yourself was part of God's plan. Having self-respect for yourself was part of God's plan. Having genuine self-awareness was always part of God's plan. To tune into yourself. They don't gotta understand how you overcame the trauma and the pain. But showing up for yourself. When you became a true believer of yourself was part of God's plan. Because you matter and you are worthy. Be patient with your process. Because you do matter. You do. You do. I'm about to wrap it up. Just because someone gave up on you, don't give up on yourself. Just because someone overlooked you, don't give up on yourself. You are genuinely loved by all the right people. You are genuinely respected by all the right people. And you deserve to be treated with respect 365 days with no malicious intentions to bring harm towards yourself and others around you. Protect your energy, because not everybody's serving your time. Never allow the enemy or heinous gods or person with malicious intentions psych you out your thought process, letting your freedom, your eyes, and your pockets, because they got malicious intentions and they don't mean well. I truly appreciate your time to the genuine ones only. Have a safe day and have a safe remaining week and have a safe weekend ahead of you. You know, be careful and protect your energy, because people will say and fake gaslight you and act like they so in tune with God, and they don't have good intentions at all. And all they would try to do is try to bring harm towards you and psychological thought process, let alone your freedom, your eyes, and your pockets, just to manipulate your character for something that you're truly not. Just to bring harm towards you. So protect your energy, because not everybody's serving your time. I truly appreciate your time to the genuine ones only. Love yourself with God's protection for every direction. Now your genuine love and respect. They say growth, understanding change, understanding yourself today. It wasn't easy, understanding the pain, but you understood the definition of healing process. Yeah, your healing process. You know, pain chose you. You didn't choose pain, but overcoming the pain, you understood the assignment of God's protection of every direction. Understanding that with God's guidance, God's going to guide you to better days ahead. To be at peace with yourself was part of God's plan. When the enemy doesn't live here today, you understood the assignment that Being patient with your process is God's plan. Wow, you're so patient with yourself today. To understand and recognize who you are today. As you look at your reflection of yourself. Wow, that communication, that bond you have with yourself today, you ain't got to fake gaslight nobody because God got your back to better days ahead. And you ain't got to fake gaslight nobody because you ain't got to wear a mask to be at peace with yourself. And you ain't wearing a mask to be at peace with yourself. And you ain't wearing a mask because you truly love yourself, to honor yourself, to respect yourself, and to stay in your own lane. It's okay that your neighbor don't go understand who you are today. But as long as you're in your lane, you ain't got to exchange words with your neighbor to make them a believer because God made you a believer. It's the thought process for me. When you ain't got to fake gaslight nobody because God's been working in your favor. Because God got your back to better days ahead. When you at peace with yourself, you ain't got to wear a mask. Now, genuine love, respect. Have a safe day, have a safe remaining week, and have a safe weekend ahead of you. Protect your energy because night brings over your time. Now, genuine love, respect.